All right, I'm still waiting on a few AN fittings and a few pieces to get our fuel system and throttle linkage and all that put together. But I'm kind of impatient and I want to hear this thing run. And I know some of you do too. So why don't we just fill the bowls of the carburetor, charge the battery a little bit, and see if we can't make it make something that sounds like engine noises.
I'd say it's a nut job.
All right, so the idea is I'm going to take this little syringe here and I'm going to fill the vent tubes on these carburetors. Now you can look through these sight glasses on these carburetors. Most carburetors have them, some of the old ones don't. And you can see them, and I'll just fill them up to about halfway in the sight glass there. I figure that's plenty of fuel. There should be plenty of fuel to fire this thing up with. Hey, and you can go to your local tractor supply or farm supply store and buy these things for nearly nothing. Or at least you used to could. I don't know what you can do. Can't do now. But fill them up a little bit. Maybe put a few little dribbles down the pipe here. And then we're going to hook the battery up and hit the switch and just see what happens. Okay, I got something a little weird going on with my MSD box. It's either in the MSD box or it's in the wiring. The box comes on, the little red light comes on, it'll stay on for just a minute, then it'll start blinking and go out, and I've got no fire. I've been running the same MSD box for about 5 years now, so maybe it's just time. Maybe there's an electrical issue in the wiring. I'll have to dig into that and see if I can figure out what's going on there. All right, so after spending a few minutes dicking around with a 6AL box, I even put another box in, and it's doing the same thing. You turn the power on, power's on for a minute, the light's on good, then it starts blinking and goes out. So impatience has taken over. I have a MSD ready to run distributor, so I pulled this one out. I've unhooked my 6AL box, and I've stuck in a ready to run distributor, and I'm going to see if I can just get it to fire up with this ready to run distributor and eliminate all the wiring stuff. I even went so far as to, instead of wiring it back into the switch and all, I've got wire going over the coil and then a wire going from the coil that I can touch straight to the battery. So we're bypassing all the electrical stuff, and we're just going to see if we can just get this thing to make some kind of engine noises. All right, let's see if we can just, for a throttle linkage, I have tied me a piece of shoestring or a piece of masonry string to this so I can pull the throttle and work it. I'm telling you, we're doing it a little ghetto, but I just want to hear it crank up. Huh. All right, all right. Maybe we're getting somewhere. Yeah. Well, so I don't know if it's in the wiring or if it's in my 6AL box or what the issue is, but put in the ready to run distributor and it fires right up. Forgive me there. When I first started the car, I wasn't thinking about this little pale mic. It only allows so many decibels to come through it, so it will kind of muffle down. So when the car was running and I was revving it there, at first the little pale mic was trying to kill the sound out because it was too loud. Sorry. Hey, forgive me. I'm learning this whole technology thing. You know what I mean? So give me a little grace here. But it did sound awesome once I pulled that off and until I thought I ran out of gas. Is that a bad sign that it sucked the bowls empty in 3 or 4 revs? Hey, drag and drive. Yeah, we're going to drag this thing out of 2,000 miles. Yeah. It is entirely possible. So the ignition switch in this thing still had the original ignition switch. I still have the original keys to the car. And the original ignition switch got screwed up in it. I went to turn it off one day and the switch wouldn't rotate. So it was sitting there running and I had to pull the coil wire off to kill the power. So I searched around for about 5 minutes and couldn't find an original switch. Now I could find Ford switches, but they had the old big bulky square key with it. I want a replacement switch with this original style key. I think maybe you can see that. I want a switch with that style key, and I couldn't find one. So I went to the auto parts store and just bought one of those universal switches and put in it for right now as a temporary switch. And it works. We was able to crank it with the key just then, but I have a theory. Part of me believes that there's something going on with that switch. And what I mean is that there's like a dead spot in it. So when it's rotated all the way around and the starter is spinning, it's throwing fire to the 6AL box. But when I let off the switch and it goes back to that run position, I think it's losing power. Here is what led me to that smoking gun of an idea. I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner, but this is what led me to that. I have, for right now, I'm going to switch it, so don't panic on me, but for right now it's still set up as a track car. So I have this old school Moroso belt drive water pump deal on it. So it's got a little motor on it. I'll show it to you in a second. It's got a little motor on it and a belt that goes around a stock style water pump. I'm running an aluminum Elderbrock water pump, but it's a stock FE style, and it has a little grooved pulley with a little grooved belt or toothed belt that goes around them, and a little electric motor that sits over here. I know you've seen them. Anyway, I have that wired up so that when the switch is in the run position, that thing runs. So my water pump is always running if the switch is on. Also in accessories position, the water pump runs. That way I can pull up, and if I want to cool the car off, turn it backwards to accessory position. I got an electric fan running and a water pump running, so I can circulate and cool the car off. None of that matters what I'm trying to say. To get to my point is, I noticed when I was cranking the car that when I'd go to crank, my water pump was running, but when I'd let off of it, the water pump would stop. I could jiggle that switch a little bit and the water pump would start back. So I'm thinking that brand new switch that I just bought may in fact not be of the best quality. Imagine that, buying something in today's world that is not the highest quality. Listen, all that can be solved. That is why we do what we do, to find the little bugs and stuff. This is the first time in forever that this car has had a complete wiring harness and everything wired in like it was from the factory. As a matter of fact, let's check this out. All right, so let's try out the lights. We've been working on them to make sure we got all the lights working. And keep in mind, this thing's been a storage building for a little while, so let's reach in here and pull the headlights on. Are they working back there? Let's see if they're working up here. Oh yeah. So the headlights work. Turn those off. All right. What about turn signals? Turn signals. I have the switch on. You hear that? My electric fan's working. All right. Push down. How about my this one, the driver's side? Yeah, hang on. How about the passenger side? Yeah. Turn those back off. Factory little turn signal knob there. Yep. Oh, did we even show this? Hold on, I don't think I showed this. Look. The indicators inside the dash even work. Yes, sir. Because street car. Guys, thank you so much for hanging in there over the last couple of videos. The last video was kind of, we ran into a lot of issues trying to figure things out. I should have just let my impatience take over then and fired up. We've got a couple little issues to work through. One, apparently I need an ignition switch, a better ignition switch. I'm going to dig around and see if I can't find one of those factory Ford replacement ones that have the old school key with it. That's the part that's important to me, is that old school key. And see if we can't solve that problem. Another issue that I have, I'm going to have to adjust this front linkage right here. It's probably hard to tell in the video, or in the video here. This one plug wire right here is slightly touching it, so that it just takes a little extra pressure to go back to idle. Now that's easily adjustable. These have these little adjustable eyelets right here, so I'll just raise this up a little bit and should be fine. But again, these are the little things we got to work out and get figured out along the road, or as we work on it. Now, here's the real question. As I'm sitting here thinking about all this, see, my other MSD distributor didn't hit. It was shorter with a 6AL box. So if I go back to the way it was and fix the switch, I probably don't need this. But would there be any advantage to going back to the 6AL box? Or now we know there's nothing wrong with the 6AL box, I don't think. I think it's in the switch. Or we just take all it out, simplify our lives for the drag and drive stuff, and stay with this ready to run distributor and go that route instead. Since it's already in here and it runs with it, it is something to consider. Now, I don't know which one I'll do yet. I need to sleep on that one. But yeah, so in the next video, and hopefully the last one in this series here, we're waiting on the AN line so we can plumb our AN, so we're waiting on our AN fittings so we can finish plumbing in our fuel line here, and a throttle linkage, because I can't use masonry twine going down the road. I mean, I guess I could if I held my arm out the window and but NHRA probably frowns on that shit. I mean, they're kind of sticklers. You know what I mean? There's kind of a stick in the mud. Let's take all the fun stuff out. I wonder if I just turned that and ran it through the firewall and got me a snatch block out of the old ramp truck back there and just tied it to the gas pedal. Relax, I'm not doing that. Guys, we've got a car that starts and runs. That's a big step. That's the first time that I've really started this car in a year. Oh, man, such a relief. We have the biggest cubic inch engine I've ever ran. The first engine I've ever ran that wasn't all Ford parts. I've said it in some of the videos in the past. If you follow the channel for a long time, with this car, I beat the horn of factory Ford parts. When I first started racing this thing, every part on the car had a factory Ford casting number. Every part on the engine had a factory Ford casting number. I had C3 heads, C3 block. It was all Ford stuff. Now, I had heavily worked it over. I had ported heads heavily, put bigger valves in them. I had done a lot of work to them, but I wanted to prove that you could go fast with factory casting parts. This is the first time in my life I've strayed from my standard formula. This is all scat bottom end, all trick flow top end, uh, even things like the water pumps, Edelbrock aluminum. You don't find any forecasting numbers now, if you know what I mean. Hopefully people will understand that what I'm trying to do with this, because I've always tried to show people how to go racing on a budget. This is not a budget engine. This is a very, very expensive engine to put together, backed by a very expensive transmission. This higher tire 4-speed now is probably $6,000, 5-6 grand. I don't know exactly, but somewhere in that neighborhood. I mean, even the clutch kit that I've got in this thing is like $1,500, $1,800 or something. This is not a budget build here, and I'm not saying that to discourage anybody in any way. I'm saying that because I, for years, have raced this car over here in the let's go as fast as we can with factory parts. I'm now over here for two reasons. One, I want to see if that extreme difference in parts makes that much extreme difference in performance. Is it really worth the money? That's the answer that we'll all find out together. Is it really worth that much more money to do this kind of motor if you're trying to win races? And number two is I am actively trying to make this one of the faster stick shift cars around. Now, I'm not going to say the fastest one. I'll never say that. There's always going to be somebody faster. But I want to make this one of the faster stick shift cars around. And I understand to do that, I have to take leaps to try that. Now, we'll find out if this was a smart investment. We'll find out together. We have some stuff we still have to do. One, I got to get my fuel lines finished. I got to get my throttle linkage finished. And there's a few things that along the way on the car that we have to do too. Apparently, I have to replace a switch that I just put in but hopefully you will understand what I'm trying to do and you will allow me some grace and follow along with that. We're not going to turn into a channel where we build expensive automobiles. That will never happen. This one is going in a direction of being spent more money on, yes, but that's not, I hope you understand that's not the direction I'm trying to go in. We will always be the channel that does, the most budget-friendly builds, how to do, max effort with what you have laying around kind of stuff, because I believe that's where the majority of real people fall. This one right here is a personal mission for me to see how fast can we make this car? How fast can this car be made to go and still be a real car? Let me define what I mean when I say that. Real car, this is all real glass that it came from Ford with. This is all real steel panels. This is not a fiberglass car with Lexan windows. It does have a fiberglass hood, but as I've said before, I've done that to get the bubble so that it'll clear the engine. That was the whole reason we put this hood on there. I'm going to continue to run an interior in this car. It's got seats in it. I did put a roll bar in it. Safety, It's got the factory steel dash. We've got it wired up so even the original AM radio works in this thing. So the idea is not to see if we can make it the fastest race car in history. We're not chasing that. I want to see is if in the lane that this thing is, if a car sits like mine, I want this one to always be able to come out on top. And what I mean is real cars, real steel, real glass, naturally aspirated. I want to be the guy when people have the conversation of who do you think is one of the fastest real street cars? I want my name to be in that conversation. I don't have to be, he's going to be the guy that pulls up, wins money every time, but I want to be the guy that at least it comes to your mind. Can we get there? I don't know. I want to be as real as I can be with y'all. I don't know. I don't know what this car run. And the scary part is, while this car sat on the shelf for a year, me collecting parts and stuff to get it where it is now, everybody out there got faster. And I'm still thinking of a number over here. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll be in that conversation or not. What I do know is I hope y'all are willing to give me a chance and see that possibly we can be in that conversation. This car needs to be extremely fast. I understand that. And it's going to take a lot of power to move a car this big that fast. And that is why I invested in that. And not a lot of guys have the balls to try to do it with an FE engine. If nothing else, can we at least be in the conversation for one of the fastest FE powered cars in the country? Can we at least get into that conversation? Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for following me along in these crazy adventures. 2025, I hope, is going to be our year. It's going to be the year that we take this car, we do some traveling, and we go to some big name events, all with the hopes of just being in the conversation of one of the faster guys. That's all I'm after. I'm never going to be the guy that's going to walk in a room and go, I'm going to win everything. I'm going to be the fastest guy on the planet. I'm just not naturally a shit talker. I joke around, but I'm not naturally that guy. So what I want to be is I want to be fast enough to just be in the conversation. And if we win races along the way, that's amazing. And I hope we do. And I'm going to be fighting for those wins. Guys, thank you so much for watching and following along with this adventure, like I was saying. Thank you so much for the folks that are subscribed. We are so close to 10,000. I thought we'd have 10,000 subscribers by Christmas. It looks like we might fall just a few short of that. I don't know. It's still a few days Christmas, but it looks like we might fall a few short. But hopefully we'll get 10,000 by the end of the year. And we are going to do some epic stuff. God bless you guys. Lord, just thank you so much. I hope the Lord blesses you more today than he did yesterday. To him be the glory. Guys, stay tuned. Great stuff is coming. I'm so excited that we just got to hear this thing run. Man, I am so amped up right now. Ha ha!
I'd say he's a nut job.